The invasion of Draenor, on the offensive. As the fires of the Second War died down, the Alliance took aggressive steps to contain the Orcish threat. A number of large internment camps meant to house the captive Orcs were constructed in southern Lordaeron. Guarded by both the paladins and the veteran soldiers of the Alliance, the camps proved to be a great success. Though the captive Orcs were tense and anxious to do battle once more, the various camp wardens based at the old invasion fortress of Durnhold kept the peace and maintained a strong semblance of order. However, on the hellish world of Draenor, a new Orcish army prepared to strike at the unsuspecting Alliance. Ner'zhul, the former mentor of Gul'dan, rallied the remaining Orc clans under his dark banner. Aided by the Shadowmoon clan, the old shaman planned to open a number of portals on Draenor that would lead the Horde to new, unspoiled worlds. To power his new portals, he needed a number of enchanted artifacts from Azeroth. To procure them, Ner'zhul reopened the Dark Portal and sent his ravenous servants charging through it. The new Horde, led by veteran chieftains such as Grom Hellscream and Kilrog Deadeye of the Bleeding Hollow clan, surprised the Alliance defense forces and rampaged through the countryside. Under Ner'zhul's surgical command, the Orcs quickly rounded up the artifacts that they needed and fled back to the safety of Draenor. King Terenas of Lordaeron, convinced that the Orcs were preparing a new invasion of Azeroth, assembled his most trusted lieutenants. He ordered General Turalyon and the Archmage Khadgar to lead an expedition through the Dark Portal to put an end to the Orcish threat once and for all. Turalyon and Khadgar's forces marched into Draenor and repeatedly clashed with Ner'zhul's clans upon the ravaged Hellfire Peninsula. Even with the aid of the High Elf Ilaria Windrunner, the dwarf Kurdran Wildhammer, and the veteran soldier Danath Trollbane, Khadgar was unable to prevent Ner'zhul from opening his portals to other worlds. Ner'zhul finally opened his portals to other worlds, but he did not foresee the terrible price he would pay. The portal's tremendous energies began to tear the very fabric of Draenor apart. As Turalyon's forces fought desperately to return home to Azeroth, the world of Draenor began to buckle in upon itself. Grom Hellscream and Kilrog Deadeye, realizing that Ner'zhul's mad plans would doom their entire race, rallied the remaining Orcs and escaped back to the relative safety of Azeroth. On Draenor, Turalyon and Khadgar agreed to make the ultimate sacrifice by destroying the Dark Portal from their side. Though it would cost their lives, and the lives of their companions, they knew that it was the only way to ensure Azeroth's survival. Even as Hellscream and Deadeye hacked their way through the human ranks in a desperate bid for freedom, the Dark Portal exploded behind them. For them, and the remaining Orcs on Azeroth, there would be no going back. Ner'zhul and his loyal Shadowmoon clan passed through the largest of the newly created portals, as massive volcanic eruptions began to break Draenor's continents apart. The burning seas rose up and roiled the shattered landscape as the tortured world was finally consumed in a massive, apocalyptic explosion.
Zappo here made a little joke about a troll playing with dolls, you know, just some lighthearted fun. But wouldn't you know it, had this mysterious needle-like sting for 4 weeks, straight after. Note to self, never mock a troll's hobby, especially if it involves tiny dolls that look suspiciously like goblins.
Aftermath of the Second War, remaining ashes. The devastating Second War against the Orcish horde left the alliance of Lordaeron in a state of shock and disarray. The bloodthirsty orcs, led by the mighty war chief, Orgrim Doomhammer, not only smashed their way through the dwarf-held lands of Khazmodan, but had razed many of Lordaeron's central provinces as well. The unrelenting orcs even succeeded in ravaging the elves' remote kingdom of Quel'Tha the Lost before their rampage was finally stopped. The Alliance armies led by Sir Anduin Lothar, Uther the Lightbringer, and Admiral Dalen Proudmoore pushed the orcs south into the shattered land of Azeroth, the first kingdom to fall before the orcs' ruthless onslaught. The Alliance forces under Sir Lothar managed to push Doomhammer's clans out of Lordaeron and back into the orc-controlled lands of Azeroth. Lothar's forces surrounded the orcs' volcanic citadel of Blackrock Spire and laid siege to their defences. In a last-ditch effort, Doomhammer and his lieutenants staged a daring charge from the spire and clashed with Lothar's paladins in the centre of the burning steppes. Doomhammer and Lothar squared off in a titanic battle that left both mighty combatants battered and drained. Though Doomhammer narrowly succeeded in vanquishing Lothar, the great hero's death did not have the effect the war chief had hoped for. Turalon, Lothar's most trusted lieutenant, took up Lothar's blood-stained shield and rallied his grief-stricken brethren for a vicious counterattack. Under the ragged standards of both Lordaeron and Azeroth, Turalon's troops slaughtered the bulk of Doomhammer's remaining forces in a glorious but terrible rout. There was nothing left for the ravaged, scattered orc survivors but to flee to the last standing bastion of orcish power, the Dark Portal. Turalon and his warriors chased the remaining orcs through the festering swamp of sorrows and into the corrupted, blasted lands where the Dark Portal stood. There, at the foot of the colossal portal, the broken horde and the ragged alliance clashed in what would be the last, bloodiest battle of the Second War. Outnumbered and driven mad by the curse of their bloodlust, the orcs inevitably fell before the wrath of the alliance. Doomhammer was taken prisoner and escorted to Lordaeron, while his broken clans were rounded up and hauled north, back to Lordaeron.
Hey Azeroth, hold on to your helms, because it's that time again. Everlook Broadcasting Co. is about to drop the hottest deals and products of the week. If you got something to sell, why aren't you on the list? And now, roll the adverts! Feeling the heat from your adventures? Cool down with our Ice Point Rock icy refreshments. Frostbite in every sip. Remember, if your tongue sticks to it, you're doing it right. Every goblin knows the importance of preparation. Grab the Goblin PvP Survival Kit. Includes a white flag, a not the face sign, and a mirror to distract with your dazzling looks. Because sometimes it's just not your day.
the Ancients. Cataclysmic Tragedy. The Highborn's reckless use of magic sent ripples of energy spiraling out from the Well of Eternity and into the Great Dark Beyond. The streaming ripples of energy were felt by terrible alien minds. Sargeras, the great enemy of all life, the destroyer of worlds, felt the potent ripples and was drawn to their distant point of origin. Spying the primordial world of Azeroth and sensing the limitless energies of the Well of Eternity, Sargeras was consumed by an insatiable hunger. The great dark god of the nameless void resolved to destroy the fledgling world and claim its energies as his own. Sargeras gathered his vast burning legion and made his way towards the unsuspecting world of Azeroth. The legion was comprised of 1,000,000 screaming demons, all ripped from the far corners of the universe, and the demons hungered for conquest. Sargeras' lieutenants, Archimond the Defiler and Manaroth the Destructor, prepared their infernal minions to strike. Queen Ashara, overwhelmed by the terrible ecstasy of her magic, fell victim to Sargeras' undeniable power and agreed to grant him entrance into her world. Even her highborn servitors gave themselves over to magic's inevitable corruption and began to worship Sargeras as their god. To show their allegiance to the Legion, the Highborn aided their queen in opening a vast, swirling portal within the depths of the Well of Eternity. Once all his preparations had been made, Sargeras began his catastrophic invasion of Azeroth. The warrior demons of the Burning Legion stormed into the world through the Well of Eternity and laid siege to the Night Elf sleeping cities. Led by Archimond and Manaroth, the Legion swarmed over the lands of Kalimdor, leaving only ash and sorrow in its wake. The demon warlocks called down searing infernals that crashed like hellish meteors into the graceful spires of Kalimdor's temples. A band of burning, bloodletting killers, known as the Doomguard, marched across Kalimdor's fields, slaughtering everyone in their path. Packs of wild, demonic fellhounds ravaged the countryside unopposed. Though the brave Kaldorei warriors rushed to defend their ancient homeland, they were forced to give ground, inch by inch, before the fury of the Legion's onslaught. It fell to Malfurion Stormrage to find help for his beleaguered people. Stormrage, whose own brother, Illidan, practiced the Highborn's magics, was incensed by the growing corruption amongst the upper class. Convincing Illidan to forsake his dangerous obsession, Malfurion set out to find Cenarius and muster a resistance force. The beautiful young priestess, Tyrande, agreed to accompany the brothers in the name of Elune. Though Malfurion and Illidan shared a love for the idealistic priestess, Tyrande's heart belonged to Malfurion alone. Illidan resisted his brother's budding romance with Tyrande, but knew that his heartache was nothing compared to the pain of his magical addiction. Illidan, who had grown dependent on magic's empowering energies, struggled to keep control of his nearly overwhelming hunger to tap the well's energies once again. However, with Tyrande's patient support, he was able to restrain himself and help his brother find the reclusive demigod, Cenarius. Cenarius, who dealt within the sacred moon glades of the distant Mount Hyjal, agreed to help the Night Elves by finding the ancient dragons and enlisting their aid. The dragons, led by the great red Leviathan, Alexstrasza, agreed to send their mighty flights to engage the demons and their infernal masters. Cenarius, calling upon the spirits of the Enchanted Woods, rallied an army of ancient treemen and led them against the Legion in a daring ground assault. As the Night Elves' allies converged upon Ashada's temple and the Well of Eternity, all-out warfare erupted. Despite the strength of their newfound allies, Malfurion and his colleagues realized that the Legion could not be defeated by martial strength alone. As the titanic battle raged around Ashara's capital city, the delusional queen waited in anticipation for Sargeras' arrival. The Lord of the Legion was preparing to pass through the Well of Eternity and enter the ravaged world. As his impossibly huge shadow drew ever closer to the well's surface, Ashara gathered the most powerful of her highborn followers. Only by linking their magics together in one focused spell would they be able to create a gateway large enough for Sargeras to enter. As the battle raged across the burning fields of Kalimdor, a a terrible turn of events unfolded. The details of the event have been lost to time, but it is known that Neltharion, the dragon aspect of the earth, went mad during a critical engagement against the Burning Legion. He began to split apart as flame and rage erupted from his dark hide. Renaming himself Deathwing, the burning dragon turned on his brethren and drove the 5 dragonflights from the field of battle. Deathwing's sudden betrayal was so destructive that the 5 dragonflights never truly recovered. Wounded and shocked, Alexstrasza and the other noble dragons were forced to abandon their mortal allies. Malfurion and his companions, now hopelessly outnumbered, barely survived the ensuing onslaught. Malfurion, convinced that the Well of Eternity was the demon's umbilical link to the physical world, insisted that it should be destroyed. His companions, knowing that the well was the source of their immortality and powers, were horrified by the rash notion. Yet Tyrande saw the wisdom of Malfurion's theory, so she convinced Cenarius and their comrades to storm Ashada's temple and find a way to shut the well down for good.
Hey there, Azerothians, it's your pal Zappo, totally hyped up for today's lore book reading. We got tales so epic, even a dragon would drop its treasure to listen. So pull up a seat and get ready to jump into amazing legends and mind-blowing mysteries of our world.
The first Greymane. From the 7 nations that were originally part of the Empire of Erethdor, Gilneas stands out as the one that had to fight the hardest for its independence. While Lordaeron was able to secure its freedom through the influence of its nobles, the people of Gilneas had to make great sacrifices to gain their liberty. Although the exact dates of these events have been lost to the sands of time, it is a source of great pride for Gilneas to know that it gained its freedom before other notable nations like Alterac or Kul Tiras. The people of Gilneas were among the first to break free from the yoke of Erethdorian nobility and enjoy the full benefits of self-rule. According to legend, the Greymane dynasty that ruled Gilneas was founded by Garelon, a minor noble who owned an insignificant plot of land in the southern part of the country. Over time, Garelon's influence grew and he became known as a skilled fighter, a wise judge, and an honorable opponent. His exploits became legend even in his own time. However, he grew increasingly resentful of the corrupt Erethdorian nobles who sought to exploit and oppress his homeland. Eventually, Garelon gathered other like-minded lords from Gilneas to form a rebellion against the decadent Erethdorian king, Thoradin III, and his followers. Many lords were hesitant to join the rebellion, but Garelon was able to persuade them and eventually declared himself the King of Gilneas. This was an affront that could not be tolerated by Erethdor, which sent its legions to pacify Gilneas. Numerous battles were fought on the peninsula, but despite the bravery and courage of Gilneas' men, the odds seemed stacked against them. Erethdor had a numerical advantage and was able to overwhelm the Gilnean armies. The Battle of Ravenswood was lost, and the Gilnean soldiers were scattered, seemingly without hope. But the young Gilnean king was not deterred. He rebuilt his strength and rallied the morale of his men. The final battle was fought on the hills of Stillward. Greymane assumed a defensive position on the hilltop, with cavalry hiding in the nearby forest. The Erethdorian forces were over 4 times larger and better equipped, and they rushed Garelon's positions without considering their own men. The Gilnean forces fought valiantly, killing thousands of Erethdorians, but it was not enough. The enemy flowed onto the hills and threatened to surround Greymane's army. Thankfully, the cavalry in the woods emerged from hiding to turn the tide of the battle. They galloped out of the forest, charging straight into the Erethdorian lines. Caught off guard, the Erethdorian formations were shattered. Although they attempted to retreat, the Gilneans gave them no quarter and sought revenge for their previous losses. Thousands of Erethdorians were killed, including their king, Thoradin III, who pleaded for mercy, but received none. In the end, Gilneas emerged victorious, and the new young king of Erethdor soon came to sue for peace. Gilneas was granted its independence and joined Dalaran as one of the independent human nations. King Garelon proclaimed the emancipation of his Gilnean homeland, giving rise to the glorious Greymane dynasty. As the nascent kingdom of Gilneas began to thrive, it faced yet another challenge. The Magocrats of Dalaran, who saw land ripe for exploitation, attacked Gilneas without warning or declaration of war, in a clear display of their treachery. The wizards of Dalaran, believing they could easily win the war with their magical abilities, underestimated the strength of the Gilnean army. The first Battle of Ebenmere was a complete massacre of the Dalaranian soldiers, and their mages hanged on trees from the city of Gilneas to the kingdom's border as a reminder to never again encroach on Gilnean soil. Despite the victory over Dalaran, the young king of Gilneas was not able to rest for long. Various nobles of the land were not always loyal to the king, and some rebelled against his rule. However, King Garelon's power was too great, and he managed to subdue them all with the help of his favored general, Lord Ravenwood.
Ladies, gents, and goblins, it's advertisement o'clock. Ever wondered how to get your stuff heard by folks who probably want to buy it? Everlook Broadcasting Co. is here for you. Now, let's get to the good stuff.
The products you never knew you needed.
Is your goblin-made machinery acting up again? Fear not. With the Duratar Labor Union's Goblin Safety Whistle, you can alert everyone in a 10-mile radius. Earplugs and spontaneous running advised.
Don't get crispy under the tropical sun. Lather on our Gilligamile SPF 5000 sunscreen. Also doubles as a cooking oil for those campfire fish fries. Because who does not want a multifunctional sludge?
The Alliance of Lordaeron, Foundation of Honor. Lord Lothar rallied the remnants of Azeroth's armies after their defeat at Stormwind Keep, and then launched a massive exodus across the sea to the northern kingdom of Lordaeron, convinced that the Horde would overcome all of humanity if left unchecked. The leaders of the 7 human nations met and agreed to unite in what would become known as the Alliance of Lordaeron. For the first time in nearly 3,000 years, the disparate nations of Arathor were once again united under a common banner. Appointed as Supreme Commander of the Alliance forces, Lord Lothar prepared his armies for the coming of the Horde. Aided by his lieutenants, Uther the Lightbringer, Admiral Dalen Proudmoore, and Turalyon, Lothar was able to convince Lordaeron's demi-human races of the impending threat as well. The Alliance succeeded in gaining the support of the stoic dwarves of Ironforge and a small number of High Elves of Quel'Thalas. The Elves, led at that time by Anasterian Sunstrider, were largely uninterested in the coming conflict. However, they were duty-bound to aid Lothar because he was the last descendant of the Arathi bloodline, which had aided the Elves in ages past. The Horde, now led by Warchief Doomhammer, brought in ogres from its homeworld of Draenor and conscripted the disenfranchised Amani forest trolls into its fold, setting out on a massive campaign to overrun the dwarf kingdom of Khaz Modan and the southern reaches of Lordaeron. The Horde effortlessly decimated all opposition. The epic battles of the Second War ranged from large-scale naval skirmishes to massive aerial dogfights. Somehow, the Horde had unearthed a powerful artifact known as the Demon Soul, and used it to enslave the ancient Dragon Queen Alexstrasza. Threatening to destroy her precious eggs, the Horde forced Alexstrasza to send her grown children to war. The noble Red Dragons were forced to fight for the Horde, and fight they did. The war raged across the continents of Khaz Modan, Lordaeron, and Azeroth itself. As part of its northern campaign, the Horde succeeded in burning down the borderlands of Quel'Thalas, thereby ensuring the Elves' final commitment to the Alliance cause. The greatest cities and townships of Lordaeron were razed and devastated by the conflict. Despite the absence of reinforcements and overwhelming odds, Lothar and his allies succeeded in holding their enemies at bay. However, during the final days of the Second War, as the Horde's victory over the Alliance seemed almost assured, a terrible feud erupted between the 2 most powerful orcs on Azeroth. As Doomhammer prepared his final assault against the capital city of Lordaeron, an assault that would have crushed the last remnants of the Alliance, Gul'dan and his followers abandoned their posts and set out to sea. The bewildered Doomhammer, having lost nearly half of his standing forces to Gul'dan's treachery, was forced to pull back and forsake his greatest chance at victory over the Alliance. The power-hungry Gul'dan, obsessed with obtaining godhood itself, set out on a desperate search for the undersea tomb of Sargeras that he believed held the secrets of ultimate power. Having already doomed his fellow orcs to become the slaves of the Burning Legion, Gul'dan thought nothing of his supposed duty to Doomhammer. Backed by the Storm Reaver and Twilight's Hammer clans, Gul'dan succeeded in raising the tomb of Sargeras from the sea floor. However, when he opened the ancient flooded vault, he found only crazed demons awaiting him. Seeking to punish the wayward orcs for their costly betrayal, Doomhammer sent his forces to kill Gul'dan and bring the renegades back into the fold. For his recklessness, Gul'dan was torn apart by the maddened demons he had set loose. With their leader dead, the renegade clans quickly fell before Doomhammer's enraged legions. Though the rebellion had been quelled, the Horde was unable to recoup the terrible losses it had suffered. Gul'dan's betrayal had afforded the Alliance not only hope, but also time to regroup and retaliate. Lord Lothar, seeing that the Horde was fracturing from within, gathered the last of his forces and pushed Doomhammer south, back into the shattered heartland of Stormwind. There, the Alliance forces trapped the retreating Horde within the volcanic fortress of Blackrock Spire. Though Lord Lothar fell in battle at the spire's base, his lieutenant, Turalyon, rallied the Alliance forces at the 11th hour and drove the Horde back into the abysmal Swamp of Sorrows. Turalyon's forces succeeded in destroying the Dark Portal, the mystical gateway that connected the Orcs to their homeworld of Draenor. Cut off from its reinforcements and fractured by infighting, the Horde finally buckled in upon itself and fell before the might of the Alliance. The scattered Orc clans were quickly rounded up and placed within guarded internment camps. Though it seemed that the Horde had been defeated for good, some remained highly skeptical that peace would last. Khadgar, now an Archmage of some renown, convinced the Alliance High Command to build the Fortress of Nethergard that would watch over the ruins of the Dark Portal and ensure that there would be no further invasions from Draenor.
Kel'Thuzad and the forming of the Scourge, the Lich King's major domo. There were a handful of powerful individuals scattered throughout the world who heard the Lich King's mental summons from Northrend. Most notable of them was the Archmage of Dalaran, Kel'Thuzad, who was one of the senior members of the Kirin Tor, Dalaran's ruling council. He had been considered a maverick for years due to his insistence on studying the forbidden arts of necromancy. Driven to learn all he could of the magical world and its shadowy wonders, he was frustrated by what he saw as his peers' outmoded and unimaginative precepts. Upon hearing the powerful summons from Northrend, the Archmage bent all of his considerable will to communing with the mysterious voice. Convinced that the Kirin Tor was too squeamish to seize the power and knowledge inherent in the dark arts, he resigned himself to learn what he could from the immensely powerful Lich King. Leaving behind his fortune a prestigious political standing, Kel'Thuzad abandoned the ways of the Kirin Tor and left Dalaran forever. Prodded by the Lich King's persistent voice in his mind, he sold his vast holdings and stored away his fortunes. Traveling alone over many leagues of both land and sea, he finally reached the frozen shores of Northrend. Intent on reaching Icecrown and offering his services to the Lich King, the Archmage passed through the ravaged, war-torn ruins of Azjol Narub. Kel'Thuzad saw firsthand the scope and ferocity of Ner'zhul's power. He began to realize that allying himself with the mysterious Lich King might be both wise and potentially fruitful. After long months of trekking through the harsh Arctic wastelands, Kel'Thuzad finally reached the dark glacier of Icecrown. He boldly approached Ner'zhul's dark citadel and was shocked when the undead guardsmen silently let him pass as though he was expected. Kel'Thuzad descended deep into the cold earth and found his way down to the bottom of the glacier. There, in the endless cavern of ice and shadows, he prostrated himself before the frozen throne and offered his soul to the Dark Lord of the Dead. The Lich King was pleased with his latest conscript. He promised Kel'Thuzad immortality and great power in exchange for his loyalty and obedience. Eager for dark knowledge and power, Kel'Thuzad accepted his first great mission, to go into the world of men and found a new religion that would worship the Lich King as a god. To help the Archmage accomplish his mission, Ner'zhul left Kel'Thuzad's humanity intact. The aged yet still charismatic wizard was charged with using his powers of illusion and persuasion to lull the downtrodden, disenfranchised masses of Lordaeron into a state of trust and belief. Then, once he had their attention, he would offer them a new vision of what society could be and a new figurehead to call their king. Kel'Thuzad returned to Lordaeron in disguise, and over the span of 3 years, he used his fortune and intellect to gather a clandestine brotherhood of like-minded men and women. The Brotherhood, which he called the Cult of the Damned, promised its acolytes social equality and eternal life on Azeroth in exchange for their service and obedience to Ner'zhul. As the months passed, Kel'Thuzad found many eager volunteers for his new cult amongst the tired, overburdened laborers of Lordaeron. It was surprisingly easy for Kel'Thuzad to achieve his goal, namely, to transfer the citizens' faith in the Holy Light into belief in Ner'zhul's dark shadow. As the cult of the Damned grew in size and influence, Kel'Thuzad made sure to hide its workings from the authorities of Lordaeron. With Kel'Thuzad's success in Lordaeron, the Lich King made the final preparations for his assault against human civilization. Placing his plague energies into a number of portable artifacts called plague cauldrons, Ner'zhul ordered Kel'Thuzad to transport the cauldrons to Lordaeron, where they would be hidden within various cult-controlled villages. The cauldrons, protected by the loyal cultists, would then act as plague generators, sending the plague seeping out across the unsuspecting farmlands and cities of northern Lordaeron. The Lich King's plan worked perfectly. Many of Lordaeron's northern villages were contaminated almost immediately. Just as in Northrend, the citizens who contracted the plague died and arose as the Lich King's willing slaves. The cultists under Kel'Thuzad were eager to die and be raised again in their Dark Lord's service. They exulted in the prospect of immortality through undeath. As the plague spread, more and more feral zombies arose in the Northlands. Kel'Thuzad looked upon the Lich King's growing army and named it the Scourge, for soon it would march upon the gates of Lordaeron and scour humanity from the face of the world.
War of the Spider. Unearthing Horrors. While Thrall was liberating his brethren in Lordaeron, Ner'zhul continued to build up his power base in Northrend. A great citadel was erected above the Icecrown Glacier and manned by the growing legions of the dead. Yet, as the Lich King extended his influence over the land, one shadowy empire stood against his power. The ancient subterranean kingdom of Azjol Nerub, which had been founded by a race of sinister humanoid spiders, sent their elite warrior guard to attack Icecrown and end the Lich King's mad bid for dominance. Much to his frustration, Ner'zhul found that the evil Nerubians were immune not only to the plague, but to his telepathic domination as well. The Nerubian Spider Lords commanded vast forces and had an underground network that stretched nearly half the breadth of Northrend. Their hit-and-run tactics on the Lich King's strongholds stymied his efforts to root them out time after time. Ultimately, Ner'zhul's war against the Nerubians was won by attrition. With the aid of the sinister Dreadlords and innumerable undead warriors, The Lich King invaded Ajol Nerub and brought its subterranean temples crashing down upon the Spider Lord's heads. Though the Nerubians were immune to his plague, Ner'zhul's growing necromantic powers allowed him to raise the Spider Warriors' corpses and bend them to his will. As a testament to their tenacity and fearlessness, Ner'zhul adopted the Nerubians' distinctive architectural style for his own fortresses and structures. Left to rule his kingdom unopposed, the Lich King began preparing for his true mission in the world, reaching out into the human lands with his vast consciousness. The Lich King called out to any dark soul that would listen.
Hey Azeroth, hold on to your helms, because it's that time again. Everlook Broadcasting Co. is about to drop the hottest deals and products of the week. If you got something to sell, why aren't you on the list? And now, roll the adverts.
Oi, me bearded kin! Think your beard's lacking that mountain shine? Thunder Peak beard oils is what you need. Made from the finest mountain herbs and a touch of dwarven ale, our mix ensures a beard worthy of a ballad. Try it, and maybe next time in the tavern, they'll be raising a toast to your splendid whiskers.
Tired of being a clear target in the battlegrounds? Consider investing in Honest Gris Invisible Mounts. Are they real or just your imagination? Only one way to find out. Goblin money back guarantee not included.
Listen, man. The spirits be restless up in Hyjal. They say the mountain is alive with ancient magics and dark prophecies. Time to shake a leg and climb that peak. And don't forget the dream shots. You're gonna need them.
Ladies, gents, and goblins, it's advertisement o'clock. Ever wondered how to get your stuff heard by folks who probably want to buy it? Everlook Broadcasting Co. is here for you. Now, let's get to the good stuff.
The products you never knew you needed.
Greetings, future coffin connoisseurs. Coffin and Casket Crafts is your go-to destination for the afterlife's finest wooden resting places. Our caskets come in various designs, including the Rest in Pieces model. Each one is lovingly crafted, and we even offer customized screaming inscriptions. Because when you go, your final resting place should say it all.
Well, hello there, magic enthusiasts. Arcane Aura Potions, where alchemy meets elven sophistication. Each drop of our potions resonates with the Arcane's harmonious energy. Sip and feel the magic flow through you. Because when it comes to elixirs, we make magic look as effortless as an elven waltz.
Hey, is this thing on? Crummy broadcast tech. Hey, listen up. I don't have much time. Don't believe everything you hear on the radio, folks. Goblins making a service that's free? Something's gotta be up. This is...
Azeroth, hold on to your helms because it's that time again. Everlook Broadcasting Co. is about to drop the hottest deals and products of the week. If you got something to sell, why aren't you on the list? And now, roll the adverts.
Greetings, seekers of shimmer. At Mystic Mountain Gemworks, we've gems brighter than a gnome's idea bulb, hand-chiseled and polished to perfection. These little beauties are just waiting to be set in your family's heirloom. And if you don't have an heirloom, well, we can forge that for you too.
Miss your old pet? We specialize in pet reanimation. Your furry friends can be just as undead as you are.
Zappo here made a little joke about a troll playing with dolls, you know, just some lighthearted fun. But wouldn't you know it, I had this mysterious needle-like sting for 4 weeks, straight after. Note to self, never mock a troll's hobby, especially if it involves tiny dolls that look suspiciously like goblins. Hello, good people of Azeroth. It's that time when we uncover the hidden gems, the quirky inventions, and the must-have marvels of our world. Get ready for a whirlwind tour through the world of advertising.
Greetings, noble guardians of the woods. In a realm where time stands still and trees listen, why settle for mundane ways of communication? Introducing the Whispered Word Service. Send your thoughts, secrets, or simple alone be with you through our ethereal wisp couriers. Silent, swift, and shimmering, they carry your messages across the forests and glades of Azeroth. Be warned, always be polite and courteous to our wisp messengers. Fail to respect their delicate nature, and you may find your treasured wool buffs mysteriously vanished. Let's just say, wisps have a certain explosive personality when offended.
Hey there, Azeroth. Zabo here, your tech-savvy goblin extraordinaire. Just got back from the Gnomish Gadget Gala, and let me tell you, those gnomes sure know how to make things that go boom. I tried out a contraption that's supposed to make toast in half a second. It worked. It also made my eyebrows toast. Ah, good times.
Salutations, seekers of knowledge. The Arcane Wonders Academy invites you to unlock the secrets of the arcane arts. Our distinguished instructors will guide you in harnessing the power of magic, just as we have done for generations. Join us and embrace your destiny as a student of the arcane.
it's Zappo bringing you the tales of the icy north. I once visited Dunmorrow, aiming to sell ice to Frostbane trolls. Thought it was clever. The response, colder than anticipated. Ladies, gents, and goblins, it's advertisement o'clock. Ever wondered how to get your stuff heard by folks who probably want to buy it? Everlook Broadcasting Co. is here for you. Now, let's get to the good stuff.
The products you never knew you needed.
Fancy a culinary journey into the depths of despair? Ghoul Gourmet's Feast of Despair serves dishes that'll make you question your life choices. Each bite brings you closer to realizing that maybe eternal hunger isn't such a bad thing.
Hello, seekers of brilliance. Sunwell Suncatchers infuse your home with the radiant aura of the Sunwell. Crafted by our skilled artisans, each Suncatcher captures the essence of our heritage. Illuminate your spaces with our creations, and let the world know you appreciate the finer things in life.
For the bravest among the Horde, there is only one place to prove your mettle. The Victory or Death Brawl Arena. Roar like a true orc as you face ferocious foes. Victory or death. You'll earn the respect of your peers and bring honor to the Horde.